I wouldn't even sign a canvas. I didn't for years, but boy, it caused such problems in galleries and sending paintings back and whatnot. I got out of that habit. And I sign them, but not sign because of the pride of signing and this and that, because people won't buy a canvas without signing it, and that's it. I don't care if they know my name. I think it's a very negative thing that you know the artist's mistresses or he cut off his ear or all the stories about art that galleries use in order to sell art, that the art field uses in order to make more interest. They don't make more interest in that sense. They make more interest, but they don't make more perception as far as the viewer. They take it away from them. Any little thing anybody knows about a canvas, they take away his right to use a piece of art and to feel it. It is what he or she sees in it, and that's the end of it. All the rest is to do with money, which hasn't anything to do with art, in my estimation. Nothing. And there we go. As far as what the canvases are going to happen, I'm in the third age and so on. Yeah, I'm thinking for the first time what happens after. I have about 1,500 canvases that I'm going to be leaving. Maybe it'll be more. There are 13,000 that are in ownership already around the world. They'll go on and on and on. Nobody destroys a canvas, or very few. Even nature doesn't do it. It'll go on hundreds of years possible. Does that feel good? I never think of it. I don't want to ruin the canvases. I want to protect the canvases, but not to protect the fact that I'm the artist and the name. Will they know my name or not? Who cares? Nothing to do with anything. I don't think. The whole idea of immortality or mortality, we're all going to die. It's one of the, if it's done right, it's one of the blessings in the world. What kind of a world would it be if you weren't going to die? My God. One of the difficult things in life is listening, I think, to other people or to gurus or how to do things and whatnot. You might go on that trail, but you got to find the trail yourself one way or the other. You have to desire to find it the first. What's important to one person is not important to another. And what you think shouldn't be loaded on anybody else. In the way of preaching, one of the things I have against religion, by the way, is just making concepts and telling people this and using fear as the basis for their accepting that kind of thing. People need help. Great, they should get help, but then find their individuality somehow or other and find their place in life and live it and enjoy it. Life is to enjoy if you can. If you get a half-decent break and a half-decent start, and for those that don't, somebody should help them get the start. That'll swing me into governments and reasons, but the only purpose for government for me is to lift up the bottom. It isn't to protect me. It's to lift up the bottom. The people haven't got a fair start. One can't help but sit and look on a bright sunny day or a storm day, and mountains around the side and just with the surrounding. You have opportunities at looking at yourself and sensing what it is you want to do. So as a background, and people, wherever they're living in life, one portion of four, or whatever it is of their life, is where they're living. And who they're living with is another. And what they're doing with their living is another, their work. I don't know what the fourth is, but you sort of have portions, but where you're living by choice has a tremendous effect. And people gravitate into here for a very more similar than dissimilar reason. They're drawn to the natural beauty around and the fact that it gives them a breath of fresh air, let's put it that way, in their thinking perhaps, in their actions. Well, I can only speak for myself as to why wild places are important for people. For me, I feel one with it. I feel that I have an opportunity to undisturbed to witness life around me and to get into the things I want to do and to be able to look at myself as opposed to noise and hullabaloo and a zillion things that might take you away from that kind of thing and that atmosphere. I happen to like New York. I think New York is a wild place. New York City. Absolutely. It's fabulous. As a matter of fact, in all the United States, I would only pick two places, New York and Aspen. And the Aspen surround the wilderness and whatnot. Otherwise, I'd want to go back to Europe and going. All the rest are hodgepodge for me. I mean, it's a hell of a statement. But New York is live, and it's wild, and it's a mixture of everything. It's too much. It overcomes any of the individuality it is. That's what this is, too. It overcomes any of your individuality, and yet allows you, because it's so much of what it is, it allows you maybe to be you. For me, without the snowmobiling, I would have missed Europe much more and would have wanted to have been back there and whatnot. But with it, it didn't. And again, not because it's a machine. I hate machines. I hate this. I don't like speed necessarily. I do like danger. I do like walking on edges. But I want to survive. But it's just, and I do like being alone. I do like a massiveness of knowing something is true. Something isn't. It's not being hyped. It's not being sold. It's not all these things. It just is. And that's what nature is. And the snowmobiling allowed me to go out an average day, out 15 to 20 miles anywhere in whatever direction. And there are about 9 different directions. And since everything changes every day, especially here in Aspen, and the surround, the look, the snowstorms, and this and that, it's always new. 500 times is a lot of times in 15 years. That's 2 times a week, say, 2.5 times a week for 15 years. And you got 6 or 7 months a year that I'm doing it. Every time. Then sleeping out once a month and building snow huts and igloos and all of this. And 99% of them alone. The only time I went with somebody was to teach them, pass it on. I love it. I love it. I recommend it to anybody. It's fantastic. When did the snowmobiling come to an end? It came to a sharp end a year and a half ago. I think it was in April or something or other. I was out with somebody who strong, knows his way around, and I was at a tailor, and I lost everything. I lost all the use of my arms and legs, and I knew I was having probably an oxygen problem, whatnot. Had a hard time moving. We were in a 4-foot snowstorm and preparing to dig in for a night because couldn't see the front of the snowmobile. And I said, we better get out of here because I am in trouble. Made it back, and I fibrillated that night and went into the hospital and ended up with pneumonia. And in the following 2 months, there was 2 more cases of pneumonia in a 3-month period. And I was on oxygen 24/7, et cetera, and I pulled out of it. But obviously, that was the end of snowmobiling. Oxygen, my lungs had finally given away. And I had a case of emphysema and COPD, and been working on it ever since. It's just like anything else. You take it, you learn all the information, you fight it, use your own system and whatnot. You can go a long way. Life is fine. If I had another shot at it and whatnot, I'd come back a woman, almost for sure. I think they just feel better. They look better. They sound better. Not that there aren't bitches amongst them and so on. Who cares, you know, all the way. But men are jocks, you know. Men are men, you know. Okay, but the world runs on. I like the matriarchy. The religion should have left itself in matriarchies. When they got around to killing all the women and whatnot in the beginning of Christianity, which they did, they made a mistake in keeping them out of church. They're the ones that have the feeling, and I like feelings. And men aren't into feelings in general. It's a hell of a sweeping statement, I know. But it's just not a thing that you would lay on men in general. I would on women. Pardon the language.